Good morning, handy viewers, such as you are, and welcome to this day of all days. See, it's not just Giblin that can steal catchphrases. On the very exciting day of the release of the new game plan deck. Now, I've had these for a little while, and I've played a few games with them, and I have to say I'm an enormous fan of this new system of initiative. And I just wanted to talk you through my initial sort of hot takes and experience of using these cards, as I haven't used them all, as I've not played on that many games with them. But I'm going to go fast because there's a lot of them. There's 18 in total, so the deck has expanded from where we were previously. And even if I spend 1 minute on each video, that's still going to be a reasonably long video. So without any further ado, let's head straight in. So first of all, when are they used? So these replace effectively steps 2 and 3 of the pre-game sequence. You each deal 7 cards from the same deck. You select 5 to keep in your hand and discard those other 2. So that's there are 18 cards in total. You deal 14, so we're already missing 4. You then lose 2, so 8 will not make the cut. So you're just going to have 10 between you. And then after turn 1, because of course you don't roll initiative on turn 1, you roll for kicking and receiving, you will add your momentum from the previous turn to the blue number in the left-hand corner. The blue number in the bottom left-hand corner of every single card is your momentum modifier. So if I've got 5 momentum and I've got a +4 momentum card, my initiative for the next phase will be 9. Yep, everyone fine? The little yellow number in the bottom right-hand corner, however, is going to modify my influence either to my benefit or my detriment. Before I get into the bulk of talking about all the cards, I want to address a question that was asked of me by a chap whose name I completely forget, so apologies, through the sort of London Guildballer WhatsApp group, which is organised by Jay, the pundit down at Darksphere. All credit to Jay, nice one. Which is this a better system? Which I think is an absolutely fair and very important question to ask, or is it change for change's sake? I've played a number of games with these decks, as I was fortunate enough to get them in advance. And I can say categorically, for me, this is a better system. And I will now try and attempt to briefly explain why. First and foremost, this is a change of system that takes very little getting used to. I found by the second time I had played a card in the game, so like turn 3 of game 1 of using these, I was already comfortable with them. This is not a system for me that was difficult to adopt into my existing style. That speaks very to elegant game design by Steamforge, and I tip my cap to them in such a manner that it is respectful and, you know, well done, lads. Frankly, like, this is anytime you introduce a complete change way of doing something and it fits in seamlessly alongside it, is, in my mind, a sign of good game design. This could very easily have become excessively clunky. The other thing I really like about it is that it removes the, oh, I forgot to play this plot card at that time. Damn it, that could have changed the whole outcome of the game. Because there is a dedicated phase to this. You know, you will both then play the card at the appropriate time. There will never be an occasion when you forget to play a game plan deck. It is intrinsically linked to your initiative check at the beginning of each turn. It is on you to remember the effect of the card. And I think that's going to take a little bit of time to get used to. The comparison I drew within that chat was, if you can remember Loved Creature, you can remember the game plan deck. To which I was met with a chorus of, oh, I forget Loved Creature all the time. Which may or may not be true. And I dare say we've all been guilty of that at some point in the past. So, but I stand by that. If you can remember Loved Creature, you can remember game plan decks. That it will be seamlessly adopted into your existing gameplay style. And critically, it removes that occasion where you've been +4 momentum up and you still lose the initiative. I, for one, hate that situation. No one feels good about that. If I'm in a tournament and I win a game because I was incredibly lucky on a dice roll, that does not speak to my skill as a player. That speaks to the luck of the right dice roll in that exact moment. And personally, I don't like that. I don't like being the benefactor of that roll, and I hate being on the opposite end of that roll. So anything that removes that is a good thing in my eyes. Plus, the level of tactical nuance required to effectively make use of the various swing numbers, the blue and the yellow number at the bottom of the card, I think is going to be key into using these to their fullest extent. As whilst it's still going to be quite simple to sort of say, here's a +7 card, I want to be going first, there's going to be an awful lot of tactical nuance on when you use each individual card, and that for me again is a good thing. I don't think it's not a mini game within a game, it is part of the game, and that for me is the big thing, that this is not going to sit on top of an existing system, but it's going to be part of it. Right, that sounded like I knew what I was talking about a bit. Now, anyone that follows me on Twitter will know I love a good graph, and this is the delta of all 18 cards with the blue number, because, you know, on the left, because it's the blue number on the left, bit of consistency, love it. On the left is the momentum bonus to your initiative, and the green number on the right-hand side is your initiative swing, for want of a better expression. So, as you can see, there are only a few cards that affect your initiative, and it's equal between negative impact on your initiative and positive impact on your initiative. Influence. Every time I said an initiative, then I meant influence. Apologies, handy viewer. And it's only ever by one. The delta swing is only ever by one, which for me is a nice thing. I like this, as I really like the idea of an influence swing. However, I don't want to see +4s or +5s or anything that would be, quite frankly, a little bit excessive. A -1 and a +1 here in there is very, very nice, and that will allow me to build into my plans. But of course, what this graph doesn't take into account is the card text itself. There's no real way of sort of mathematically plotting that, as far as I'm concerned. What we're going to have to do instead is talk about it. So let's do that now. Alright then, seize the initiative. This is a big fat +7. There are 2 +7 cards in the deck. And they both have very interesting mechanics. So this is your I want to go first, or the I want you to go first, because I think there's going to be a lot of that in this, which I really like. I think it's going to impact how often a player chooses to go first and how often they elect for the opponent to go second. Naturally, Smoke is probably still going to want to go second as much as possible, but yeah, I'll get into why as we go along. So, seize the initiative, starting with the player that has initiative. Both players can choose one friendly model to immediately make a 4-inch dodge. This is an awful lot like Lucky's ability. So if you are the person going first, if you've used the +7 card to making sure you go first, when you dodge one of your players 4 inches, your opponent will have the option to follow 4 inches with a person you've dodged away from, or to chase down the person you've just dodged, or something entirely different. Now, of course, this card and the other +7 card are not going to guarantee that you gain initiative. If I play in Vet Rage and I've got 12 initiative and a +1 card, and you've only got 2 momentum and play a +7 card, you know, my 13 is better than your 9, so I will still be going first, which would mean that I would gain the benefit of this card, because the player that has initiative would then choose. You with me? So the text on the cards can and probably will affect both players an awful lot of the time. It's the initiative bonus as well. But yes, this is the first big fat +7 I want to go first card. Sell it to the crowd. This is, for me, your knee slider replacement. This is the one that the fish are going to hopefully be digging the deck, trying to find. Although, of course, because the deck size has increased and we're discarding more cards than ever before, your probability of getting one individual card is probably lessened, although I've not done the mathematics on that. Of course, we do also have a larger hand side. So yes, every time a friendly model scores a go, it may use Run the Length. That's a 4-inch dodge after directly before the goal kick, without spending momentum. So yeah, there's no more dodge your move, but there is every single time you score a goal, run the length. So yes, I do think Fish will be digging for this, and it's a high initiative bonus of +6 momentum, but it does take away 1 influence. Great card. Lone Striker. This is the other +7 momentum card, but this one also comes with a -1 influence, and that if your team has initiative, the first friendly model to activate is at -1 tack for the remainder of the turn. Now this card I found fascinating to use, and whenever I've had it on my hand, I have played it and elected for my opponent to go first, and I'll explain why. In those situations where I've got a striker bearing down on me on goal, or that goal path is obvious. Say you've got Vitriol with the ball, and you've got a player maybe a bit too close as the midpoint between them and their goal due to poor positioning of board states. You know full well that Vitriol or Shark or Velocity or someone along those lines is going to charge your big fat fatty at the back on 3 defense and no armor. Let's say Boar, like in the finals at Vengeance last year, and they're going to come in, bounce off, farm momentum, dodge away, get into goal range, out of your melee range, and score. It's obvious. We can all see when that's going to happen, or when it's too late. What this card allows you to do is say to your opponent, yes, that's what's going to happen. You're going to do that. However, you are now at -1 tack. So Vitriol's tack goes from 5 to 4. So the maths centered around you being able to hit that momentous double dodge, or even wrap for 2 lots of momentous double dodges, is lessened. Now there is a gamble to that, because of course dice is still a thing, and there's a penalty for me in the form of -1 influence for my turn, but that's how I've used that card, rightly or wrongly, in my little tests of these games. And I imagine that this card, more than the other +7, will be in a position of making your opponent try and go first to ruin their plans, or rather than making you go first, which I find personally quite interesting. Grudge Match, so it's a nice +6 momentum, -1 influence, so there will be a penalty to using this card. And starting with a player that has initiative, both players can choose 1 enemy squaddy, and I'll come back to that term in a moment, that is currently on the pitch, and they suffer singled out. So by squaddy, and we are meaning non-captain, non-mascot. It does mean that the blacksmiths, interestingly, have more targets for this than any other guild. So it's almost like there's a penalty to not having mascots, people. I have used this card poorly every time I've played it, and personally I don't trust myself to use it, as my opponent being able to choose who I have free singled out one of my models is a little bit more worrying than me being able to put one on them. I don't know why, but there we go. I think some teams are going to be absolutely salivating at this, and others will not. I think this one is going to be a big personal taste. I think this one has got a high risk, high reward factor built into it, but it will be interesting to see. Yeah, I like it. It's a nice little idea, and I love the idea of the grudge match. 2 players just across the pitch, just going, you! Dig Deep. I want to like this card, and I don't. And I'll come into why in a minute. So it's +2 momentum and +1 influence, and I'll be honest, I think the +1 influence is the best part of this card. So Dig Deep, the friendly team gains 2 points of momentum each time the enemy team scores a goal. So on the face of it, you immediately start thinking, this should be quite useful against Sharkfish. This should be quite useful against a heavy football team, where I'm going to concede goals early, and then I have the points to claw back myself back into this game. The perfect example of game would be at my lovely little club that I go to on a Tuesday night at Thor's Hammer Gaming Club up in Boreham Wood. If you're in the area, please do pop down. It's a fantastic evening that's fully catered by the team there at Thor's Hammer. Brilliant little club. Where very quickly I was playing Theron Hunters against Sharkfish. I went 2 goals down very, very quickly, and then clawed the game back slowly with 6 takeouts from the Hunters to win 12-8. And in my mind, you sort of think, this is the perfect game where this would be useful, because every time my opponent bangs a goal in, I'm going to get some additional momentum for him. But, oh handy viewer, such as you are, allow me to theorise as to why that's not always going to happen, and I'm aware that I'm already eating into loads of time and I want to get this done quickly, is against those footballing teams you are most likely going to go a goal down in the first turn, and these cards are not played in the first turn. So against those extreme footballing sides, I'm going into turn 2 where I have my first opportunity to play these cards. I'm already 4-0 down, so the number of goals that this card can affect before I lose is 1, so I will get 2 momentum for 1 goal. Because if they get another goal, I've lost. I'm already 12. I'm already, they've already at 12 points. So the question you have to ask yourself is this is not ever going to be, in my mind, unless they have somehow failed to score in the first turn. Maybe you scored in the first turn, right at the end of the first turn, which is a great way of stopping fish, and teams like that can be able to dominate the game in quite such a fashion. The question you have to ask yourself is 2 momentum going to be the swing for you, or is there another card that might be a better choice of facing those teams? I don't know. I never profess to be the greatest tactical genius in the world. That's why I'm not on the WTC team that's just been chosen, and congratulations to those that have made it. Win or I'll cut you. Hunker down. Now this is one I do like. So this is a +1 momentum, +1 influence. Must stop saying initiative there. Modifiers, and whilst within the friendly half of the pitch, friendly models gain resolute. So that's +2 tack on a counter-attack, just like Jack has. That's a lot of hard-sounding words. I like to play what I refer to as a defensive controlling style of Guild Ball, or as other people may refer to it, boring. However, the idea of my entire team gaining resolute while they're in my pitch really appeals, particularly against very aggressive attacking teams with 1-inch melees. So I'm sorry, Philip. This is not a card that you're going to want to see, and I'm going to want to see every single time against you. Go away. The offside trap. So for our non-UK viewers, or handy viewers, or even a lot of UK viewers that aren't into actual football, this is an actual thing in football. Popularised by the George Graham Arsenal team of the early to mid-90s. So the offside trap is a +1 momentum and +1 influence. Influence modifier. Wow, I'm struggling with that this morning. And it basically means if you are the only player between your the only they say the offside trap isn't difficult to explain. If you're the only player, if there is no opposing player between you and the goal, you must spend an additional momentum point to either take a snapshot or a shot. So that means a shot will be 2 momentum to take, and a snapshot will be 3, unless you're Memory or Midas or someone with another card, maybe. I really like this sort of nod to actual football. Which basically states if you are the only player between your opponent and the goal and the recipient of a pass, you are offside. It's not hard to explain. Back in the game, this is a whopping, well, a middling, I suppose, +4 momentum bonus and a 0 modifier to influence. And it basically states the first time a friendly model suffers a taken out condition, you can move all of their influence from them, and it may be allocated, not gained, to another friendly model within 8 inches. This is exactly the same as the Union Guild Identity card that we had previously seen when we were playtesting those. Whether this is a death knell to the Guild Identity cards, I don't know. But it is the same rule, and it would be very odd to see rules duplicated across both the game plan book and a Guild Identity card. So I will let you theorise yourself whether or not that is the case. I quite like this card, as it basically means there will never ever be any wasted influence. It also possibly means that I can bait people into attacking low wound models if I know full well that someone's got 2 or 3 HP left, and I stick 4 influence on them. You see your opponent salivating at the chance of a first activation to remove them, to not only kill a model and gain the VP, but also to kill that influence. This allows you to then move that influence elsewhere. I'll let you decide the full tactical implications of that. But I do really like this card, but I think the most interesting thing about it is the similarity with the Union one from the Guild Identity cards. Yes. Halfway through and already at 15 minutes. Damn, I'm going to have to pick the speed up. Get back in there. +3 momentum. No change to influence. Corsair, players of the world, unite and rejoice. There is an expression down our way when Corsair gets taken out, which is essentially, for him, his match is over as the big slow fat fatty takes a while to get back on the pitch. And I dare say there are a number of players across numerous teams who, once they are taken out, are effectively neutered for the rest of the game due to a low jog. However, friendly models that return to the pitch due to an icy sponge gain +2/+2 movement for the turn. So, not only did they get a +2/+2 movement, so an additional 2 inches of jog from their returning position, but also in their turn, they will have a +2/+2 move. So this is effectively a free 4 inches, and I know how many of you are clamouring for an extra 4 inches in your life. Oh, that was awful. I must apologise. Fullback, again, nice to see a real footballing term being used. Nice. I do like that. I'm not a big football fan, but it's nice to see a little nod towards the actual thing. So +5 to your momentum bonus and a 0 modifier on influence. And the first time a friendly model declares a charge within 8 inches of the pitch, that friendly model spends 1 less influence. So effectively, this is a direct port across from the previously existing Season 3 plot cards, so everyone knows what they're doing with this. The big change, however, is that +5 momentum initiative bonus thing. You get it, the blue number. Blue number, go big. Go for the knees. So this is like the opposite of Lone Striker, as rather than having a -1 tack benefit, I have a +1 tack benefit. Alongside that, I have a nice +5 momentum, initiative, blue number, bonus, swing thing. I like this. I like this a lot for exactly the opposite situation to Lone Striker. That if, in fact, it could almost be used to blunt it. So someone goes, "Aha! Your striker is now -1 tack." Haha! Now he's at +1 tack. Or just you absolutely have to give that kill. It's essentially like if you've got a beta loaded up with 4 influence, this is like a free bonus time for every single one. That sounds alright. Equally, you can bonus time on top of that. So all of a sudden, someone like, I don't know, Boar becomes tack 10. Midfield general, nice simple one this, but very, very effective. So it's a +3 momentum, initiative, blue number, swing, and a 0 influence modifier. And I can see why it has such a low initiative modifier. It's because the card text itself is huge. Well, it's very much not. It's quite tiny, in fact, but it has a massive impact. If I could be vaguely serious for a moment, I know I'm surprised as well. I have long said that the 2 most important things in any wargaming are points. There is nothing more overpowered than points. If I have more points than you, I win, hands down. Points are broken, and that the single most important skill you can have in any miniatures wargame is where you put your models. Positioning is the single hard skill there is in wargaming. That's what I reckon. You may think differently. If so, feel free to leave a comment in the doobly-doo. And anything which improves that is significant. Equally, we are all quite used to calculating threat ranges or knowing the threat ranges of various opponent pieces and what I need to be able to counter that, or at least blunt that. You know that you want to stay at least 16 inches away from Obulus if you have the ball. You know that you want to stay 9 inches away from Tapper. All of a sudden, these established maths and established ways of thinking change. Now, the meta will shift, and the meta will adapt to be able to cope with that, but it's going to take time, and this is going to catch people out. Fillet has a 14-inch range. That's disgusting. It's moving your models faster is a big deal. End. It's brilliant. I love this card. It has such a small amount of text, but it's a huge impact on the game. And I'm absolutely sure Fish players, horrific people such as they are salivating at the prospect of this card. Speaking of Fish players salivating at cards, keep the ball moving. This is a +4 blue swing and a 0 bonus to influence. I don't need to say anything, really. Everyone gains an extra dice of kick. As a Mortician's player, I love this because it means that a lot more of those passes that I like to try can actually happen. And Obulus becomes a 3/6 kick, and Silence can pass the ball for 4/7, which is lovely. Look, Engineers players have just died with the joy. You all know what this is going to do. This is going to be one of those cards that you have in your deck. Just for a second, consider the Pinvice Legendary turn. Yeah. Horrible, isn't it? Keep your chin up. It's +4 blue swing and no yellow modifier. That's just how I'm going to refer to it from now on. I've been struggling the whole way through. You get to use Come On Mate for the first time without spending any momentum. I'll say that again. You can use Come On Mate without spending any momentum. That's nice. That's really good, because disease is very shortly going to be a thing. So both either you're facing rat catchers, or if you indeed are rat catchers, this is lovely, because combined with Miasma's Solve, you now have 2 free disease removals from your team. Now, I have said in my other videos that my big concern with rat catchers is going to be the disease when conditions within their own lines, and I needed to see something that would help them with that, and certainly from the streams that we've seen, and I'll do a Miasma video at some point, when the cards are officially released, because I like to have the artwork in those vids. You've probably noticed. But yes, we do know that Miasma has the ability to remove conditions for free to turn. Well, here's a card that lets you do that as well. So yes, this is particularly well planned. It's almost like they did that on purpose. Hey, it's back, kind of. So yes, the infamous Don't Touch the Hair from Season 1, possibly an inspiration behind the name of my Guild Ball match report channel. What am I talking about? Of course it is. Loads of people guessed that. I didn't even play in Season 1, and that card is infamous. And it's kind of come back now in the form of Won't Touch the Hair. No, I will not be renaming my my playlist of match reports to Won't Touch the Beard. Although, if you could not touch the beard, that'd be nice. That's a terrible game to play at conventions. Damn you people. So yes, it is a +3 blue swing and a +1 yellow swing. Nice. We've not seen many influence modifiers, which I like. So choose a model that isn't a captain or a mascot. That model gains poised. This is going to take a bit more skill than I think the first initial glance requires, but I like it. And I think the best thing about it is that little nod to a piece of Guild Ball history. So yeah, nice one. Bit of nostalgia. Wingbacks, again, nice to see a little nod to the real world of football. +4 blue swing, +0 influence modifier. If you are starting if your friendly model activates within 8 inches of the pitch, you gain Shadow-like. Love this. Absolutely love this. We saw this on the stream, and I'm a huge fan of Shadow-like, as it just kind of gets you out of horrible situations or allows you to block charging lanes for free, and it's just an extra little bit of nonsense. So I'm a big fan of this card. However, I do tend to play straight up the middle of the pitch, for better or for worse. So how often I will be within 8 inches of the edge of the pitch, I'm not sure. Or how often more than one player or 2 players will be within 8 inches of the pitch, I'm not sure. So curious to see how this one will work out, but I really like it in principle, and I'm a big fan of Shadow-like obulus players such as I am. Penultimate card, stick to the plan, friendly models gain showboating. That's a +5 blue swing and -1 to your influence for the turn. So yeah, I alluded to this earlier on when I was talking about Offside Trap, and indeed, yes, there is a way now for other models outside of Midas to gain the showboating ability, so they spend 1 less momentum. This is going to make some angels, well, maybe if she gets on the pitch, some velocity, all those snapshot turrets, going to be a little bit more efficient. I particularly like this with the concept of Brain Pan and Memory, because that means I'll be spending, when Brain Pan passes to Memory, I'll be spending no momentum to take a snapshot. Equally, that will stack with Midas and the like. That's brilliant. I'm a fan of that. No momentum for a goal. Next one. So here we go. Turn your guild into the Brewers Guild and kick them while they're down. Kick them when they're down, sorry. So friendly squaddy players gain Shove the Boot in. Whether this means it's a +2 blue and a -1 influence. Now, I've been thinking about this because I'm quite curious. So everyone's going to gain, all non-captain, non-mascots. Oh, so Blacksmiths have a bonus here because they don't have a mascot. Will gain Shove the Boot in, so +1 damage playbook results against models that are knocked down. I'd be wondering, Brewers, do you want this card? I suspect you do, but I'm curious, just because, I suppose, because it's, yeah. Oh, no, I'm thinking the other way around. Yeah, because now Spigot will get +2 attack and +1 damage when you're knocked over. That's horrible. It's pretty self-explanatory. Knockdown is probably one of the most debilitating conditions in the game, particularly in the beginning to middling skill levels. So, you know, where I am. I don't see it utilised quite so much in top tables, which is interesting whenever I watch the high table streams. But still, I can imagine that a lot of people are very excited about this card, as they are all of them. So there you are, handy viewers, such as you are, a little sneaky peek and a brief discussion about my experience of using the game playing cards. I in no way profess to be any kind of tactical genius in this game. In fact, quite the opposite most of the time. And you like pointing that out to me as well in the comments. Thanks very much. But I have had a lot of fun using them and just wanted to share a couple of quick thoughts and hot takes with you. I dare say other media outlets will be producing more in-depth interviews with developers and discussions amongst themselves. I really want to call out my good friends over at Singled Out, who doubtless will have some kind of interview lined up. I'm guessing, I've got no idea, but Andrew seems very, very keen to do that at a moment's notice for every change, and all credit to him and Jason for putting the time in to do that. I particularly enjoyed their conversation with Bryce around the recent Farmers Errata, so if you've not seen that, please do go and give it a download. Very, very interesting from beginning to end. Equally, the gentleman over in Chicago at Strictly the Worst will no doubt have a lot to say about this, and I am, for one, looking forward to hearing what they have to say. And I always want to shout out the guys at Roll Better. Down in South London, the worse end of London, clearly. I have a very strict rule when it comes to podcasts, in that I do not listen to podcasts over an hour long. I, quite frankly, have other things to do. I don't know why, I can't get past podcasts that are over an hour long. These guys consistently produce podcasts which are generally in the region of 3 hours long, which is engaging and interesting and funny. And the fact they break two of my hobby rules when it comes to hobby-based podcasts is the thing I just can't stand. I don't know why. Is the hag section at the beginning of all of them, where people go, you know, what's the hobby and gaming bit? What have you built this week? What have you painted this week? I can't stand it. I don't care. I don't care what you've built. Tell me about the thing. But it speaks volumes to their charisma and their presentation style that I lap up every episode of Roll Better, despite it breaking all of my rules surrounding podcasts. So there we go. So yeah, those three guys I'm sure will have something more to say on these. However, if you wanted a quick, sneaky look at my hot takes of using these cards and what I think of them, then, well, you've just watched it. So, you know, I don't need to promote it. You've finished. Also, there was a graph. I do love a good graph. Very finally, before I go, I just wanted to call out the artwork on these cards. I love the little sketches of the game plan that are on the back of the cards and in the background of all these cards. Full credit to Steve Forged for that. Really nice little nod. It's sort of like you can really see the away team dugout with a chalkboard at the back, sort of, and things scribbled on it. Love it. So just anything that makes it a bit more of a sport, I'm a fan of. So yeah, nice. Enjoyed it. So then, folks, you should be seeing in the centre of your screen a beard. Should you wish to be subscribed to this channel to be notified the moment this nonsense is uploaded, please to be clicking. You'll also see a little bell, which apparently is a new thing that YouTube put in some months ago that I've only just noticed, which if you press the bell, you'll be notified instantly whenever I upload this. That's the thing you want. That's how you do it. And until next time, handy viewers such as you are, I need a better outro.